Electrical system update, EDA grant report.
Okay, so I haven't had an update for a while, there's been too much to update, but I'll let you know where we currently stand. Let's see here, so like the packet said, we were awarded the money in January of 2021. This process actually started back in 2017, 2018, so this has been a very long-winded project. The expected construction start date was supposed to be this January, obviously it has not happened. Construction end date is supposed to be January of 25. And then the final submission of all documents, grant closed out and everything, there's actually a typo, it should be April 27, not April 26. So we have some wiggle room, and as long as we are staying moving forward, keeping the EDA updated where we're at, they are happy. They haven't sent me any nasty grant saying we're behind schedule, so it's not that we're staying up to date with them. So yeah, like I said, we have missed some dates, but we are moving forward slowly. Part of it was the BPA substation acquisition, and the other part, now, well, I guess still substation, but the other part is also we need assistance from the ports, as if you've read the packet. So the city and the BPA have come to a verbal / email agreement to purchase the half an acre of land and the whole substation for $250,000. They are doing their environmental and cultural review before they start doing any work to finalize it. They're telling me around November when we should actually take possession. So
By the end of the year.
somewhere in there, but it's the big deal. So yeah.
Oh, I mean, there's a chance.
During the shut off they did last week, they did repairs to the substation. The lightning storm from about 2 months ago caused the insulators and the sparking out there. So it's actually been, that substation's been offline since then. And so they repaired it this past week. So from what Derek and I can tell, it is fixed and ready for us to take over, assuming it doesn't break again. So the original funding was a 2.4, just over $2.4 million grant from the EDA, a special public works loan from the state for 490, almost 492,000. And I am meeting with them on Thursday to talk about that, to get more information, because I haven't really dived too deep into it yet. $110,000 from $110,000 from the port for a total of $3,009,360. If we look at the first exhibit, it's kind of a breakdown of the costs, the proposed combined project with Port of Cascade locks and unit funding. So that's kind of, yes.
Now that port has roughly $2 million, what happens if they don't, since this is a new port commission, what happens if they don't give us that $2 million?
Then we have to work with BKI to change our design.
You have a new commission over there.
Yeah.
That $2 million was dedicated from the old commission.
Correct, yeah. So I've been waiting patiently to see where the commission lands.
Okay.
Now that they're set, I'm hoping to chat with them September 5th, I think, is their next meeting. Yeah, or to actually talk about it. So the total price, I guess it's two separate projects. It's us buying the land, removing the old 6 megawatt substation, putting in the new to us 35 megawatt substation, moving the 14 megawatt pyramid substation across the highway so they're next to each other, running new lines from those two substations pretty much all the way across the highway, across Dennis Snyder's property to the port line, port property line. Once it passes over into port property, it becomes their project. But it's kind of 2 in 1. There's no point in them building capacity. Their thought is to put in lines so they can run 29 megawatts of power at one time. It's like 29.3, it's a certain size of conductor. There's no point in them doing that if we can't even supply it to them. So the thought is, it's the same consistency of conduit amount of power that we can supply them to be 29.3 megawatts. So really we need their help to get to a point where, as a city and as a port, we have enough power to theoretically bring businesses in and have enough for the next 10 to 15, 20 years, because honestly, as soon as this project's done, we're gonna have to look at getting more power, because everything's just eating more power. It's gonna be a never ending cycle of us trying to get more power. Unfortunately. So yeah, not the greatest copy that printed out, so I will bring up mine here really quick to show on the screen. Yeah. Rotate it, here we go. Don't want that. Share so Denise can see. All right,
You zoom in a little bit too.
oh yes, if I can remember how to do that. There we go. Thank you.
That's in the chat.
I think it was Denise saying she
Oh.
couldn't. Yeah. Alright, so the Cascade Locks substation estimate, that is purchasing the land, putting in the new substation, moving Pyramid substation over, pretty much anything involved in that little parcel of land we had bought, and that's by far the biggest project. It'd be 2.8 from the city and about 317,000 from the port. And then there is getting the circuits or the lines across 84. And then getting it to the west entrance, or getting it across 84 to the port. And then you'll see the bottom three is all stuff that the port was planning to do, which is a roughly $1.5 million. We need an additional $500,000 from them. So again, 2.4 for them. Then a decent amount of contingency just to be said. And I can show you a map here and make a whole lot more sense with the map. It's the second page in that packet. Yeah. So this right here is Bear Mountain Forest Products. To the south of it is Dennis Snyder's property. Right here is where our transformer currently is. We'll take the Pyramid substation, put it right here next to the new one. We'll have a double circuit. And it'll be designed where they can each back each other up. So if one goes out, Pyramid can back up the new one can back up here. So, because right now, if Pyramid went out, we would be screwed. We don't, the Cascade Locks one owned by BPA that we are buying is only 6 megawatts. It's not big enough to handle it.
So real quick then, just so I understand, so we're buying a 34 megawatt.
Roughly 34, 35 in there. Yeah.
35 to replace the aging 6 megawatt
Correct.
transformer currently on the south side of 84.
Yes.
We're gonna take, just want to make sure I'm on this.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm going with you here, and then
Yeah.
the one that's currently over by Dennis Snyder's property is gonna move over there, so they're right next to one another.
Correct.
And then we're gonna add additional electrical wiring, so that way we could run, the city could run off of either one of them.
Correct, yes.
Got
So the new one will be designated for the port and industrial development, because that's what the grant says, it's for business development. But it'll also be a backup for this,
So that's the 34 megawatt.
that's the 34
It'll
megawatts.
be for, can you say it again, it's for the port
For the port, yeah,
and commercial development, or for just the port commercial?
mainly the port, I mean, that's what the grant says, is to get power out to the industrial park,
Got it, so it's for the industrial park.
industrial park, yes.
Thank you.
So it could be underground.
What's that?
Yeah, I think most of theirs will be underground, so, this green line here will be the new line. Going across the highway, we'll keep the same path we do right now through Dennis Snyder's property, going to the south. West and then up, and again, once it gets. To here, so it's really Bear Mountain's property, once it gets across the railroad tracks, that's where the port takes them. That's where their funding would kick in. And they would do essentially one big loop. So if the line breaks up here, they can reroute it to go around, so really the industrial park, at least what's there right now, would never lose power if there was a break anywhere in the line. Again, if there's multiple breaks, it's a different discussion, but for some reason a squirrel chewed on a line or something. they can
And
reroute.
that's all the stuff that's gonna be underground.
I believe that's underground, yes.
Someone Fridays for it.
Which I guess happens, I think there's a portion of town that was out of power Sunday. And they couldn't figure it out exactly what it was, they're assuming a squirrel committed suicide. So,
It's always the squirrel.
yeah, it's just plain squirrel, yeah.
Or the beaver that chews the tree.
That ox spray up by my house a couple years ago.
Yeah,
Can you go back down to the
Yep.
legend there? Just scroll down. So there you've got the two green lines at the 84 crossing. Are those both indicated by the one green line that's on there, or am I just not seeing the second green line?
oh, this is more of a
Yes.
teal.
Oh, I see, that's the second
It's,
line.
yeah, it's not showing up as gray here, but it's.
Got it, so that's going
This-
to 84 crossing at Forest Lane, so that's actually. Does that turquoise line go all the way to the substation, or does it just go to where the substation used to be?
Where it used to,
I see, yeah, and then we're running another line to where the substation used to be as well.
Yeah.
Both of those are double circuit.
Yeah.
It's 1272 ACSR.
I have no idea, to be honest, yeah. I'm not sure.
be type of liable.
Yeah, I think it has to do with the size of the wire, but I'm not sure.
So I'm just, I'm trying to understand, I'm not an engineer or electrician, I'm just trying to understand what the, what the double, so the double circuit, like, what does that mean exactly? Like, why couldn't they, it seems like you just had one extension cord, plugged into two outlets over here, you could just swap it to the other one, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
why do we have to run two lines that whole distance? You know?
I don't know the exact engineering reason behind it. I'd have to ask Guy or Scott on that one. Yeah,
How is this going through Dennis Snyder's property? Is it like,
it's
Up on
already,
poles?
all holes, yeah.
it's not underground on his
No.
property,
No, I'd love to put it underground, if that costs too much money, yeah.
and everything's been worked out with him?
There's lines already there, the easements we already have,
So they're using easements that are already.
or easements right away is one of them, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we already have lines here, we will just be updating the poles and the lines, so it can carry more load.
And the railroad crossing thing is just it's just to let us know where the marker is, where you don't have to get permission for the railroad and any portion of that area?
No,
Okay, good.
the last design picture here. So this is what it would look like at the actual substation location. This here would be EPA's big lines coming in, it would split between the two of them. Then we'd have double circuits here, where at any point they could kind of help each other out or flip together. So,
Is that the substation?
yes, these are the substations, these guys right here. So that, I'm not sure which one's gonna be which. But one of them will be pyramid, one of them will be the new 35 megawatt one. Let's see here. So any questions on the rough layout, the cost, kind of why we're needing it? And then we kind of maximize our money to get to a point where. Because if the port doesn't go with this, we have to essentially scale back the amount of power we can provide them, probably to maybe another 20 megawatt substation, something significantly smaller. Which kind of defeats the purpose, so.
So currently what we've got is a 6 megawatt of Earth line.
Well, once we buy, yes.
And what was the capacity of one of the businesses that worked?
14, we could put fans on it, and do some other stuff, get it up to 20. But right now it's 14,
But potentially it could be 20.
Yes,
And
we could-
34 on the other one that we're trying to acquire.
yes,
So we're going from 20 megawatts right now up to eventually 55.
yes, yeah,
That's a pretty sizable.
it is, I think I mean, assuming we're not overrun by 3 data centers. Or 1 data center, it's plenty of power. But that
Well,
doesn't-
your point as far as like, it's a continual process.
It
It's
is,
never
yeah.
gonna be, done.
correct,
But the more power we sell, the more money we're making, the more money we make, the more we can set aside for future projects.
exactly, yeah, Exactly. All right, more administrative side, I listed the, kind of main special award conditions. There's a handful of things we have to meet and do for the EDA before they will give us a single penny. One of them is actually officially obtain the substation from the BPA, get a good title, get the IGA with the port done, saying we will work together throughout the life of this project, and the life of the project is 20 years.
Sorry, I keep asking.
Oh, no.
When you say, acquire the BPA substation, you're referring to the property?
The land, the whole thing, yeah, actually have the land, we own the title, we have the land.
And it comes with, I just wanna separate like the discussion of the substation from the property.
Oh, yes, yeah.
They're both, right?
Correct, yeah. They're kind of, yes, they're separate, but they're all in one.
Do you sell the substation?
At this point, it's scrap metal. It's from 1947. It's 6 megawatts. It's a hunk of junk. I mean, we're paying $250,000, and I'm not really sure what we're buying with it, other than land.
The land.
The land they're selling to us at the amount of money they bought it for in the 40s, so like $50 is how much we're actually buying the land, paying for land. So we could probably scrap it,
Because
but
you're buying the cables that come in, like the fact that there is cable coming to that spot.
yeah. Pretty much. Haven't quite figured out what we're doing with it.
Put on Facebook Marketplace.
That's Dennis that he wants to buy it.
I'm sure it's got some good scrap metal in there. Yeah, so we have to make sure there aren't any encumbrances with the state, ODOT, or service, anything like that, so.
So basically, a clear transition of ownership
Creating
for that property.
Yeah, and we're not gonna budget anybody's right of way or property without permission, so.
So that one should be a relatively easy one.
Yes, yeah.
So long as we get the deal done.
So, but I mean, between what we've already paid DKI, buying this up front, it's probably about $500,000 of upfront money before we get a penny from EDA. Which we have the money for, just a heads up. Let's see here, I mentioned the,
I think you have a question on it.
yes, Denise, go ahead, thank you.
Thank you. I just wondered, with that right of way on the Snyder property, is there any thing that needs to be written about if he sells that property, that we still maintain that right of way?
I'm gonna assume it's already in there, but I can double check.
Usually those are recorded on the,
On the deed, not the
so
property.
the person that buys it with that understanding is part of the purchase is to review the deed.
Exactly, yeah.
They pay title insurance.
Yeah.
You can see that he's not recording.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Check
Thank
on
you.
easement.
Yeah, Dennis really wanted us to put it underground, but we told him we can't. Because it's literally through the middle of his lot and he has to drive his trucks around. It's
What if he digs it for us?
maybe. Maybe.
Is it open?
That is true, we use this equipment on that.
I do want to say, being in California for work today, I see a lot of ads because I'm in the wine country where there was that Paradise Fire that PGE down here is working diligently on putting as many lines as they can underground for safety. And in the end, apparently it's cheaper. Just something to think about for the future. That's all I'm saying. I've been seeing those ads.
Necessarily cheap, because once you bury a line, it creates more heat, and you have to replace the line more.
It reduces the fire risk for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then as I mentioned, is the intergovernmental agreement with the port. It'll be kind of an all-purpose IGA, but we'll put in there about the power. I think the port is expecting specific amount of power. General Manager Blue and I kind of proposed 26 megawatts. Again, that's going to be between council and the port commission, what that number is. I think the port is looking for a hard number though, that they can rely on. Where, yes, it's 35 megawatts, but we can really only sell 9 of it, because the other 26 are committed to the port. But there's that issue.
I just wanna make sure I'm following along with you. Did you go through all the pre-disbursement requirements in EDA?
Done all of them, I just kind of glanced over.
Okay.
Yeah, didn't really go into detail. Yeah, I think I'm missing it.
I've got nothing after those.
E-drive, you know. Yeah, I think page 2 is missing. Also double check that. But again, a lot of this depends on what the port does. Next steps, obviously present to you guys, get any feedback from you. I had originally planned to present a very brief discussion of this report tomorrow, but since they changed their formatting of how they run their meetings, discussions are only the first meeting of the month, and then decisions are the second meeting of the month. Tomorrow is the second meeting, just because August is a weird, the way the dates fell. So actual discussion of the report won't be until September 5th, whatever that first Tuesday is. And then I probably at some point, council and commission do a joint work session to hand wrap the IGA. And continue working with the BPA. So that's kind of where we're at.
How does that IGA work though, for we promising power that we don't have to promise?
Will be, I mean, it's stipulate once the project's done. Yes, yeah. Yeah, and not the greatest, I mean, but it's the very high level.
This is where we're at you.
I'm gonna picture this, I love the map, seeing kind of where things are and where they're going, so I really appreciate you.
Yeah.
putting that together. And I think it also helps to delineate like what we're doing versus what the front's doing.
Correct, yeah, there's, it's, you know, obviously, there's a hard line right here. Anything past the railroad tracks, the port is paying. I mean, they're gonna help us, but at that point, it becomes their half of the project. But again, there's no point in them building to a capacity we can't meet. So without the additional funding from them, we won't be able to meet that capacity. So I guess my question for council at this point, are you comfortable presenting something like this to the commission? See, at least see what they say. Sounds good.
Consensus, yes.
We can make a decision in a workshop.
So I guess my understanding is to get it to the railroad tracks is 500,000 of their money. And then from then on, it's their project.
Yes, it's completely their project,
So
all
we're-
of their money.
In essence, we're just saying, help us get it to the railroad tracks, $500,000 to the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's your responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So we have construction starting January 2023?
No, we haven't done any construction, until the port and the commission agree on this kind of basic overline, and then the BKA will finalize the engineering designs. And then we put it out to bid, we have to select who to construct it, and then we actually start construction. So I think best case scenario at this point, we start construction next spring.
When can we get the land? We still, I know we only have a verbal / email.
I'm hoping November, December this year. I'm hoping, yeah, but BPA moves at their own speed.
Is there a deadline we have to at least think about?
The project, I mean, for the grants, I mean, we have to have the final paperwork done by April 27th. So, but as long as we're showing EDA we're making progress, they'll be fine, at least so far, that's what I've heard.
Any questions? Comments?
Perfect, it's time for that, before we start counting.
All right.
Okay, for those of you who have minutes, I'm gonna close this out and reopen for the official council meeting. Thank you.